We hear it all the time, right? Like mind over matter. But have you ever really stopped to think about what that actually means?
Yeah, it's one of those phrases that gets thrown around a lot.
Totally.
And we kind of just take it for granted, you know?
It's like magic.
Yeah, almost like a magical force.
Exactly. So today we're going to try to break that down a little bit.
Yeah.
We're diving deep into this conversation from November 15th, 2024.
Okay.
It's titled The Unwavering Power of Mind Over Matter.
I like it.
And we're going to unpack what it really means, how it's backed up by actual science,
Right.
and what it means for you listening right now.
You know, it is easy to kind of dismiss the whole mind over matter thing,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
especially when you see it, you know, on like those cheesy motivational posters.
With the kittens hanging on for dear life.
Exactly. But this source is making a really interesting point. It's not just about wishful thinking.
Okay.
It's about recognizing the power of our minds
Okay.
and how they can actually shape our reality.
So you're saying it's not just about thinking positive thoughts.
Not exactly. I mean, positive thinking is definitely part of it.
Sure.
But it goes deeper than that. The source uses this really cool analogy of an architect.
Oh, I like that.
They're saying that we're not just, passively living our lives.
We're not just along for the ride.
Right. We're actively designing our lives with our minds.
Okay, so we're the architects of our own lives.
Exactly.
I love it.
And that's a crucial distinction, right? We're not just waiting for things to happen.
We're making them happen.
We're shaping them with our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions.
That's powerful stuff. But how does this actually work?
Right.
Is there any scientific evidence to back this up? Or is it just, a bunch of feel-good fluff?
Well, there's actually a ton of scientific research that supports the mind-body connection.
Really?
Oh, yeah. One of the most compelling areas is psychoneuroimmunology.
Say that 5 times fast.
I know, right? It's a mouthful. But basically, it explores the link between our mental state and our immune system.
Okay, that makes sense.
There was this fascinating study where they gave a bunch of people flu shots, but they induced stress in one group
Oh,
and kept the other group relaxed. And guess what happened?
I'm intrigued. Tell me.
The stressed out group had a way weaker immune response to the vaccine.
No way. So their negative mental state actually messed with their immune system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's just one example. There's a whole bunch of research showing this mind-body connection in all sorts of areas.
Like what?
Well, for example, studies have shown that people with chronic pain
Okay.
who practice mindfulness actually experience changes in their brain structure,
Whoa.
which leads to less pain.
So their brains are actually changing.
It's pretty amazing, right?
That's incredible. So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts. It's about actively training our mind.
Yes, to influence our physical state.
Okay, I'm starting to get this.
The source really emphasizes this point. They say our thoughts and beliefs aren't just these fleeting things.
They have real power.
They're powerful forces that can actually affect our bodies, our health, even our performance.
Oh, speaking of performance,
Yeah.
the source talks a lot about athletes using mind over matter to do some pretty incredible things.
Oh yeah, athletes are like the prime example of this stuff in action.
I mean, think about it. They're pushing their bodies to the absolute limit.
Right. And they're using their minds to help them get there.
So what are they doing? How does that work?
Well, they use a ton of different mental techniques, visualization, self-talk,
Oh,
focus.
to kind of push past those limits.
Exactly. And the thing is, these aren't just motivational gimmick.
There's real science behind it.
Yeah.
Okay, so break it down for me. How does something like visualization actually work?
Okay, so you know how sometimes you can just imagine yourself doing something
Totally.
and it almost feels like you're really doing it?
Like a daydream almost.
Yeah, kind of. Well, there's this thing called mirror neurons in our brains,
Okay.
and they fire both when we do something
Uh-huh.
and when we watch someone else do it.
So you're saying my brain is basically simulating the experience.
Yes. Even though you're not physically doing it.
Wow, that's wild.
So when an athlete visualizes winning a race,
Their brain is basically acting like they're actually running.
it's firing in similar patterns. And by doing this over and over,
They're training their brain for success
yeah, they're building confidence, reducing anxiety.
and basically getting ready for the real deal.
Exactly.
So it's not just about getting psyched up, it's about actually rewiring your brain for peak performance.
That's a great way to put it.
So this is all about athletes.
Well, not necessarily. The source argues that this applies to way more than just sports.
Okay.
We can use this same mental strength for any challenge we face.
Really? Like what?
It could be recovering from an illness, starting a business, breaking a bad habit.
So it's not just for Olympic athletes. It's something we can all tap into.
Exactly.
That's pretty empowering.
It is. But it's not always easy. You know, one of the challenges the source brings up is that. It is, but it's not always easy. You know, one of the challenges the source brings up is that we're constantly bombarded with negativity.
Oh, yeah.
From the outside world.
For sure.
And even from our own inner critic.
Oh, tell me about it. My inner critic could win an award for negativity.
Right. They call these like voices of doubt.
Voices of doubt, huh?
And they can be pretty sneaky.
So what are they exactly? Like, how do they affect us?
So think about those thoughts you have.
Okay.
The ones that tell you you're not good enough,
Oh, yeah.
not smart enough,
Oh, yeah.
not worthy of success.
Ugh, I know those voices.
They can just pop up anytime,
Yeah.
whispering doubts and like undermining your confidence.
It's so frustrating.
It is. And the source is saying these voices can be super destructive,
Yeah, I can see that.
holding us back from reaching our full potential.
So how do we deal with them? Do we just try to ignore them?
You can try that,
Okay.
but it doesn't usually work.
But like they just keep coming back.
Yeah, it's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater.
It just pops right back up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The source suggests a more like proactive approach.
Okay, so what do we do?
We need to learn to recognize these voices first,
Okay.
then challenge them.
Yeah.
Like, are they even true?
And then?
Replace them with more empowering thoughts.
So it's like we're having this internal debate with our own negativity.
Yeah. And like any good debate, you gotta come prepared.
I like that analogy.
The source talks about cultivating positive self-talk, surrounding yourself with supportive people,
That's advice.
and focusing on your past successes.
So basically building up a positive mental arsenal.
Exactly. To combat the negativity.
That's a much better strategy than just trying to ignore it.
Right.
What about when those doubts are coming from real experiences?
Okay.
Like, what if you've actually failed at something in the past?
Yeah.
How do you move on from that without letting it define you?
That's a great question. And it's something the source addresses head on. They say that failures are going to happen.
Yeah.
That's life, right?
It's part of learning. The key is to reframe those experiences.
Okay, how do we do that?
See them not as setbacks, but as opportunities to grow.
I like that.
They talk about developing a growth mindset,
The growth mindset.
where you see challenges as chances to learn and improve.
So instead of beating yourself up over past mistakes, you use them as fuel to move forward.
Yeah. And it's not about pretending those failures didn't happen.
Right.
Or dismissing the pain they might have caused. It's about acknowledging them, processing them, and choosing to move forward with a new perspective.
That's really powerful. So we've talked about the science behind mind over matter, the role of visualization, and how to handle negative self-talk.
We covered a lot.
But I'm curious about the bigger picture here.
Okay.
The source seems to be saying that mind over matter is more than just a bunch of techniques.
Yeah,
It's almost like a way of being.
you're picking up on something really important here. You're right. The source goes beyond just the practical stuff and gets into the deeper meaning of this idea. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
They say that mastering mind over matter isn't about achieving perfect mental control.
Yeah, okay.
It's about understanding that our minds are always evolving.
So it's a journey,
It's a lifelong journey of self-discovery.
not about reaching some destination.
Exactly. It's about the journey. And
Yeah.
part of that journey is cultivating awareness,
Okay.
being willing to question our own beliefs, and being committed to personal growth.
So by doing those things,
We open ourselves up to a whole new world of possibilities.
that's pretty exciting. So mind over matter becomes less about controlling our thoughts.
And more about understanding how our thoughts create our reality.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
So if our thoughts are that powerful, what does it actually mean to embrace that power?
Whoa. That's a big question.
It is.
And it's one the source leaves us thinking about. They suggest there's a deeper level to this whole mind over matter thing.
Sure.
Something beyond just the techniques and the science. It's about tapping into like a level of consciousness, you know?
Right.
Where we see how everything is connected.
Okay.
And our thoughts and beliefs become these forces that shape the world around us.
So it's not just about me controlling my own thoughts. It's bigger than that.
Exactly. And the source says that when we understand this, we unlock a whole new level of power.
Okay.
They talk about these people throughout history who did these incredible things.
Like what?
People who defied all odds and created massive change. You know,
Like they achieved the impossible.
it's like they had this unshakable belief in their ability to shape reality.
So it wasn't just luck or talent.
It was this deep conviction that their thoughts and actions could actually make a difference.
That's pretty powerful. It makes you wonder if we've all been underestimating our own minds.
Yeah, I mean, what if we all started to embrace this deeper level of mind over matter?
What would happen then?
That's the big question, right? And the Source doesn't give us all the answers.
Of course not.
But they do challenge us to think about it. What does it really mean to embrace the power of our minds?
Not just for ourselves,
but as a force for change in the world.
What if we all started to believe we could create a better world?
Solve those impossible problems.
Heal ourselves and the planet.
What if we stopped seeing ourselves as victims and started seeing ourselves as architects of a new reality?
Wow, that's a lot to take in. It's like mind over matter is not just a personal thing, it's a responsibility we all share.
I think that's a really good way to put it. And it's not about ignoring the problems we face.
Right.
It's about understanding that our minds have the power to shape reality, both individually and collectively.
It's about choosing to focus on solutions instead of just dwelling on the problems.
Believing in our ability to create a future that aligns with our values, our hopes, our dreams.
This has been an amazing conversation. It feels like we've gone way beyond the usual mind over matter stuff.
I agree. It's like we've tapped into something much deeper.
Much more meaningful. And I think the most important thing to remember is this. This isn't just an idea, it's an invitation.
An invitation to what?
To explore the true potential of our minds, to question everything we think we know.
To push past our limits.
And to believe that we have way more power than we realize.
That's beautifully said.
And for everyone listening, I hope you take that invitation seriously. Don't just think about mind over matter. Feel it, experience it, live it. What does it mean to really embrace the power of your mind? What kind of world do you want to create? Let those questions guide you as you keep exploring this incredible concept. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.